What's up, lads and ladettes? This is Gamers, Nerds, and Geeks United, and I am Dakota Griswold. And while we shouldn't ever port beg, I have a different view at it. I don't mind port begging, because there are some games from previous generations and some games that just didn't get justified. They didn't receive justification the way they should have in previous generations. And when you have more powerful consoles as the Xbox One X and the Nintendo Switch that's portable, I think certain games from previous generations, or just previous games in general, it might change some things. So today, I'm going to give you a personal list of games that I would like to kind of port beg for. Now, let's get right on to it. The first game I would like to port beg for is Far Cry Blood Dragon. Now, I am a huge fan of the Far Cry series, but Blood Dragon just kind of skyrocketed it for me. It was just so over the top. It was just so extra. It had, well, obviously, freaking dragons in it. They shot lasers out of their faces. I'm not sure if they came out of their mouths or their eyes. It doesn't matter. It was a neon-colored extra. It was just so extra. And it was based off of the 80s. And the gentleman, forgive me for not remembering his name, but the guy that was in the original Terminator, he voiced the main protagonist for the game. And this game was just so over the top, so extra, so much fun. And it played exactly like Far Cry 3, except it just had some extra. You could throw ninja stars. You didn't have any falling damage, and the guy had a cybernetic arm. And then even the cutscenes kind of looked like 1980s, early 1990s Nintendo game cutscenes. And it was just hilarious, fun, and awesome. And I would really love to play this game on a Nintendo Switch. And given the fact that it is backwards compatible on the Xbox One X, we might not need it. But it would be nice if you kind of just maybe redid it, rehashed it somehow. But mainly, I would absolutely love this game on a Nintendo Switch. It would be so fun playing portably, because I couldn't imagine just playing it on the go and maybe laughing and people wondering, what is this guy doing? What's he playing? And they look and they see all of these colors and all of this zaniness and silliness. And I just think, once again, that this would be great on a Nintendo Switch. Moving on to the next game. This game was kind of controversial, being the fact that it was already a remaster and not everybody was okay with it. I'm talking about the Goldeneye remaster that was originally on the Nintendo 64, that was remastered for last generation on the PS3 and Xbox 360, but it did not feature Pierce Brosnan. It featured Daniel Craig. And not everybody was on board with it, I'll tell you that. But the shooting was on board. The shooting was on point. The shooting was fine. I enjoyed it. The graphics were fine. It was a fun game. It still had its fun multiplayer. I really don't see why it was an issue. I say maybe re-release it on the PS4 and Xbox One, but it should absolutely be on the Nintendo Switch. Because, I mean, why not? It was originally on the Nintendo 64. So why not bring a franchise like this back to its home system and home company that it was originally on the Nintendo Switch? In a previous video, I complained about a game not getting really what it deserved, and it was very well received by critics, and maybe it didn't sell as much as it wanted to, and it fell under the dreaded EA umbrella. And I am talking about Kingdoms of Amalur. That game, once again, is much loved, especially by me. And I spoke about it a lot in my previous video, and I really don't have to touch on it much here. But I want to say is that I love the world. I love the weapon system. You could have a heavy weapon and a light weapon, and they were individually tied to a singular button. So you could chain together certain combos that you really wouldn't be able to do in other games. I say re-release it somehow. Bring it back from the dead. Bring this game to me. Bring it to the Nintendo Switch. I absolutely love that game. And given the fact that I live such a busy life and I don't get a chance to finish all of the games that I want to finish, this game that I love so much on the Nintendo Switch would be ideal. And I could put a crazy amount of hours into it and finally finish it. Please bring Kingdoms of Amalur to the Nintendo Switch. Now, this game was recently re-released in a collection, but I would like it on the Nintendo Switch. I am talking about the Bioshock Collection. Bioshocks 1, 2, and Bioshock 3 which I can't even remember the name of right now. Please forgive me. But I absolutely loved it. It was a prequel. And the third Bioshock was absolutely amazing. They all really, really were amazing. But the third one, you were outside. And you had a weapon called a skyhook. It all had the plasmids and everything. But it was just such a different game. Such a fun game at that. And I think it would just fit right at home on a Nintendo Switch. There's not a lot of first-person shooters on there as of yet, and all we have is Doom and soon Payday 2, and also Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus is coming. But we could really use something as imaginative, as colorful, and as lively as Bioshock on a Nintendo Switch. I think it really speaks to the Nintendo brand, and once again fits on a Nintendo Switch, and you can have so much fun on the go. Please bring Bioshock Collection to the Nintendo Switch. Now, there was a game, I believe it came out last year on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I wasn't too big of a fan of it, but I could see the fun aspect of it, and it was basically multiplayer, and it seemed very much similar to Rocket League, except you were playing as these animals that didn't really have legs or arms. They would just roll around, and it was called Deformers. It was a shooter, but a family-friendly shooter. And basically you would roll around and bounce off of certain objects and bounce off of enemies, and you would have team deathmatch and other modes, and it was really fun. And I feel as if you bring this to the Nintendo Switch, it would be great family fun and a great online experience just for the fun of it. Not saying it's as great as Splatoon, but it's kind of in that area, in that genre, so a lot of children don't feel outcasted, for lack of a better term. I really think that Deformers is a great fit for the Nintendo Switch. Now, there is a game that came out last year that I am absolutely fiending to come to the Nintendo Switch, and that is Little Nightmares. Now, I don't generally like these kind of runaway horror games, but this game has a certain amount of charm. It's also side-scrolling. It has a certain charm to it that really pulls me in and makes me like it, and I'm really curious about it. Now, I've held off on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions because I'm really hoping that it comes to the Nintendo Switch. And, I just see a lot of games, smaller titles, even bigger titles coming over to the Nintendo Switch, and I really feel like there is just some hope for it. I would like them to re-release it and give us a special edition with a figure or something to come to the Nintendo Switch. I would absolutely buy that game with no question, no qualms about it. Please bring Little Nightmares to the Nintendo Switch. Now, we have two Bethesda games on the Nintendo Switch in Skyrim and in Doom, and soon to be Wolfenstein, the new Colossus. Why not bring another story franchise in Fallout? Maybe a collection, maybe just bring Fallout 4. I don't care, I don't know. I would just like to be able to play these kind of huge RPGs on the go on the Nintendo Switch, because sitting at home, I'd probably get bored. I just won't have time because I live so far from my job, and I just need to pay extra time, because by the time I get all the way to work and come home, I don't think I want to dig too deep into an RPG. I don't want to dig my nails, sink my teeth in these RPGs, and I just don't have that kind of time, and I think this would fit perfectly on the Nintendo Switch. Skyrim was ported so well, and it runs so well. I really don't see why Fallout 4 or Fallout New Vegas can't get ported. I really think it would fit very, very well. Please bring a Fallout game to the Nintendo Switch. And last but not least, one of my absolute favorite games from 2016, which happens to be an indie title. I bought the game twice already, and I would absolutely buy it a third time on the Nintendo Switch, and I'm talking about Hyper Light Drifter. The Hyper Light Drifter is already on the Nintendo Switch inside the fighting game Brawlout, which is also a Smash clone, but that's not good enough. I need the Hyper Light Drifter in his original game with his original soundtrack. That game had an amazing soundtrack, and it reminds you of Zelda, A Link to the Past, or something like that. It was just amazing. The visuals were stunning. The music was amazing. I have no idea what's going on with the story because there are absolutely no words in the game. It just had pictures, and I was just like, what? I don't know. But you kind of get to figure it out from the pictures that you can upgrade your weapons, you can use new weapons and get new abilities. And the game is fun. It's very old school, hard, and very difficult. And So colorful, so bright, so vibrant, and an amazing soundtrack. I actually personally downloaded this soundtrack and I listened to it for absolutely no reason. There's no words to it, right? But it's absolutely fun. It's one of the greater games from 2016, and it received a lot of attention and was actually well received by critics and fans alike. And I would absolutely love that if Heart Machine brought Hyper Light Drifter to the Nintendo Switch. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. Thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Or maybe even dislike if you weren't feeling this video. Please share, retweet, whatever. Make sure you get people to this video. Once again, eventually when I reach about 1,000 subscribers, I will be giving away an amiibo. And then when I reach an undetailed amount right now, I will probably be giving away this controller. No, I'm not giving away my centerpiece. I absolutely love it a little too much. But I will be giving things away eventually. Please bring people to this channel. Please let me know what you like or dislike so I can keep this channel alive and lively. Please donate to my Patreon so I can keep this channel self-sustained. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm out.